Hello everyone, welcome back to the Motor Trade Mentors podcast with David Gott of the Lovely Car Company and myself, Joe Betty of Barrow Motors, and today our guest is Matt Lagden of JM Automotive / JM Prestige and Performance. Matt is in a partnership, is that right, Matt?
That's right, mate, yeah. Yeah, me and my good friend, yeah.
They are mechanics by trade and they're quite busy with that, but they've obviously tried to set up doing car sales as well, hoping that it would be the golden goose, but it hasn't quite worked out that way. They've had issues and problems like all of us do, and he's got a few questions he wants to ask us, so we are here to help if we can. So, Matt, in your own words, you'd be the best person to tell us how did it come about, who are you, how did the business set up, and how is it going?
So me and my close friend Jamie, we was mechanics at Volvo, like main dealer. So we've been doing it for like 15 years, and then we started dabbling in private work, bits on the side. And then, long story short, we bought a 1 Series with a blown engine, and we put an engine in it, and we sold it, and we made really good money on it. I mean, do you know what? This is where the money is. This is, to be honest. So we thought we'd buy a few more. We started buying Jaguar XFs, you know, the 2.7 V6. They're forever blowing up. So, I mean, you can get no end of them on eBay. So we started buying loads of those, blown up engines, putting engines in them, doing the same thing, turning them over, and made quite a big pot. So with that, we thought, you know, let's take the jump, and we set up a business, doing it on the side of our full-time job from my mate's garage, actually, just buying and selling basically blown up cars. So we'd buy them blown up, put an engine in it, turn it over, and then we found it's quite time consuming. So from buying one car, it was taking us best part of 3 months before we even got it ready to sell. So we started buying stuff, cheaper range stuff, tightening them up, servicing them, like MOT failures, things like that, you know, trying to play to our skill level. And then it went really well. And then we eventually started buying regular stuff from auctions, things like that. And then that's when it really slowed off. We found, you know, we're just competing against every other person. So we went to another option and then started buying like Mercedes, BMWs and putting all the kits on them, thinking, like, let's make them stand out from the rest. You know, you're not going to find what we've got. And then we found out everyone's doing that as well. So again, was like, I think, is it James Prestige, things like that. They've got countless of them, like to a better level than we could ever do. So we thought, why are they going to come for ours when they can get for similar money one from an established place like that? So we knocked that on the head. We then started doing rent-a-teching, like I mentioned to you, Joe. We started doing that to free up some time. So we did that. We secured a unit we're in now, or one next door, which is a lot smaller. We secured that, put a couple of ramps in, started doing the mechanical side. That really picked up. So that established us to be full-time, self-employed kind of thing, or for the business. So we had a lot more time on our hands. So then we started buying performance stuff. So Focus STs, Astra VXRs, Corsa VXRs, things like that. We've souped up, none of them standard. We thought, stick to the modified route. Maybe not people are dabbling into this side of it, but the amount of headaches we had with cars coming back, you know, because these lads that are driving them, as soon as they drive out of this showroom, they were flat out down the road, bouncing off the limiters, and then as soon as something went wrong, which it's going to, they're straight on the phone. Hey, up, mate, you know, 2 weeks down the line, my engine's blown up. Well, you know, you probably haven't driven it hard, mate. And then it was always our problem. It was having them back left, right and centre, putting engines in them, gearboxes, and it wasn't making money at the end of the day. It was barely striking even. So we knocked that on the head. We then thought, right, let's take another approach. We started buying Audi A6s, all the German stuff, high miles, so it was like quite cheap, affordable cars, but then again, putting the kits on them. So like front splitters, getting the rotary wheels, painting them black, things like that. That did really well. But a lot of them were coming back with failed gearboxes. I think we had 3 in 1 week, and that cost us just shy of 15 grand to put right. So we're just banging our head against a big wall at the minute, thinking, what the hell do we buy? Because we're I don't know how you guys do it without being mechanics, because if we wasn't mechanics, we would have lost a lot of money, but God's blessing, we can fix it ourselves. So,
Matt, how long have you been doing this for then?
2 years. 2 years, yeah.
So you've
I mean, we've come a long way.
Yeah, you've done a lot of different stuff in 2 years, haven't you?
Yeah, that's what I mean. We've thrown everything at it, mate. Like, I mean, I'm not one of these that's done it half-hearted. We have gone full pelt trying to get it to work, and we've not stuck with one thing, which is probably our problem. We've just thought, you know, like I was saying to Joe earlier, there's a saying, isn't there? Throw enough crap at the wall, or something eventually will stick. It just hasn't stuck, Dave. It's just still gone sliding back off. So, just some advice from the professionals, mate, has made it work.
To be fair, it sounds like you've had a bad run of luck. And
Yeah.
It does happen, and it sucks if you get that early on. Like, I had a bad run of luck where it's, cost me tens and tens of thousands.
Yeah.
And Dave will tell you, I don't know what it is, but just at some point in the year, you're going to have a month or two that's just the phone doesn't ring unless it's for warranties, and you're just like,
That's what it seems
now.
to be. Yeah.
It just, yeah. And I guess where I'm at now, I'm trying to minimize that. And yeah, as soon as you said like performance and modified stuff, I thought, yeah, well, I went through that phase because no one else wants them. And I always used to like stuff that no one else wants because there seemed to be a nice big margin in them. It takes a little while to realize why no one else does want them, and why they are cheaper, because they are so much riskier. And like you say, it's the customers you get with them that's a bit of a nightmare. Right, before we get into all that, though, I think we need to cover the basics. So where you are, you've got two units next door to each other.
No, we've basically, the smaller one, we've come out of that and come to the bigger one.
Oh, okay.
You'll probably see on the website, we've not got a lot in at the minute. That's purely because of space, because the workshop got so busy, we've just had to turn this into a full-fledged workshop. So like I say, we've got a third ramp, new machines in. We've actually just secured a unit opposite us, which is about 1,500 square foot, all on the same premises. So we've actually secured that one as well now. So that's going to be our fully-fledged showroom. So we could probably get inside and outside, I would say, best part of 10, 15 cars. It's all on a secure gated premises, and it's straight opposite our workshop. So you could probably see the door behind them cars is the unit we've secured.
Okay.
Yeah, the one on the left.
That's
But
not
yeah,
big.
probably all in all, on both sides, we could probably fit 20 cars.
It's going to be a good start. Dave will tell you need to have twice as many, probably.
What's jumping out at me is the first thing you were doing was probably the best thing you were doing, where you were buying them and you were putting the engines in, and I bet you were adding a lot more value to the cars and getting bigger margins. So with only 20
Mate,
cars,
yeah, we were making 5-6 grand.
exactly. So with there being two of you and you've got your mechanics on the side, you can afford to sit on them cars with the big margins. Like me and Joe, we need to turn the cars over all the time. We need to turn them. But if you've only got 20 cars, you and your business partner, and you've got a garage, I'd be doing what you were doing when you first started, and going for them big margins, getting them cars nobody wants.
But saying that, you say it would take you 3 months to do, say, like a thingy, a Jag. Is that because you're searching for the engine, and then, or you're doing it in your part-time, or what?
Yeah, well, at first it was because it's part-time, but now, because we're so busy with the workshop, I reckon we'd struggle to get it done. Literally, we don't have the time to be, plus it kills a ramp. If I have a car on that ramp putting an engine in it for 3 months, that's going to cost me a lot more money than I would making on the car, because it's work I can't do on that ramp. Plus, there's other things to it when you're putting an engine in it. We always buy second-hand engines. If something goes wrong with that engine, it's very difficult to get your money back. For one, you have to remove it again. So that's free labour. So that's another day from one lad ripping an engine out, sending it back. It sounds good on paper, but it does have its downfalls.
I would say from where you were doing that to where you've established yourself now.
Exactly,
this is a problem.
yeah.
There's loads of things that work really well when you're like a one-man or a two-man part-time band. But when you've got the full, like you say, if you've got workshop stuff, then if it takes away from that, then it doesn't make sense, does it? I guess.
Not really.
I
no.
agree, Dave. I was thinking, could you run one or two in the background that are going to give you that nice juicy profit? But I guess if actually it's being eaten into by labour and ramp space.
Yeah, if I had a third guy, then yes. But then by the time I've done it, I'm basically just doing it to pay his wage, aren't I? It's catch-22. You know what mechanics like at the minute, mate? They want silly money, don't they?
Matt, what about like, instead of, I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud. I assume like Ego Boost engines are quite easy to put in. It's not going to take you 3 months to stick an Ego Boost engine in.
Yeah. You do them in a couple of hours, you get them in, mate. But
Well, there you
they're going to
go
go bang
then.
again, aren't they?
Yeah, but why? If you can buy the new EcoBoost engines, can't you? The ones that get like if they've got like a 2-year warranty with them. Because I've bought some from Leeds. Um, that could be a good
Oh, you mean brand
USP.
new one?
Yeah, buy a brand new one. You can get them for like 1,300 quid.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just trying to think.
Is that
Using
from Ford
your
then? Directly from Ford?
There's a place in Leeds. They are from direct from
Yeah.
Ford. I think they're 1,400 quid plus that, something like that. They're not expensive, but with your knowledge and you being able to get them in and out, maybe try and find the engines that are quick to put in and out because you'll always sell a Ford.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
you can get
Maybe.
easy. There's like a quick supply of them.
Yeah,
Yeah. Playing to your
But then
strengths, isn't it? Yeah.
you'd have to do the maths, Matt. Like how cheap can if you like look at cars at Copart, for example? Because I'm looking, so it'd be fun to buy something. The prices are near enough what it would sell for when it's done. So it's where you get them from. Unless you set yourself up
Yeah.
as an EcoBoost repairer and you say, "Oh, it's knackered. We'll give you £1,000 for the car or whatever," or do advertise. Yeah. What would you rather do? You don't I take it
To
you
be
don't really want to be
honest,
sticking engines in. You just want to be just adding
yeah,
normal car sales to the side of your mechanical business.
ideally, yeah. I mean, I want to step away from that side of it because, if, in all honesty, if I could pack up being on the tools, I would. I don't want to be 50 years old, spannering cars, rolling around, lifting gearboxes up. And car sales is a way out for us. Hence why we started it. So I kind of want to focus on doing it where it's going to be maintainable, not where a point where every car I sell, I got to put an engine in the thing because then by the time I'm 50, I won't be doing that, will I? I won't have unless I'm paying a lad to do it.
Yeah.
I want it to be not so much easy money because it isn't, but it's just less physical. Let's say,
Yeah.
I want to try and work my way off the tools eventually and do what you guys are doing. Full-time sales. That would be ideal.
Fair enough. So, what's your sort of budget for stock at the moment? If you put everything
Yeah,
together.
typically we have around 35,000 in the account for it at the minute. We've still got a few bits to sell. So we're selling everything we've got until we've got the space because we're end up getting a bit of crap from the landlord at the minute because we've got cars scattered everywhere. As you imagine being a workshop. So chucking another 15 cars on top of that is not going to please him. So until we've got the new unit, we've got the space. We're just going to hold off for a second, and then as soon as we've got the keys, we're gonna fill it. So
Yeah. Okay. So is that 35 grand including what you've got in stock, sort of thing, at the minute?
no, 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 no. So that's what I've got on to sell as well. So roughly, we should have around, I'd say, 50,000 to spend on cars.
yeah,
We've
Yeah.
also got stock funding as
That's
well
what
with
I'm trying to think about.
V12.
I'm just trying to think that if you've got 15 to 20 spaces,
Yeah,
how much does that 50 grand chop up into? So you're looking at like
yeah,
spending 3 grand a time because you can pick and choose what it might. Is it better to? I don't know. Dave might have a different opinion. You're almost going to be starting a whole trial and error thing again.
yeah. I know.
I would personally. I don't know what Dave thinks, but if you've got 50 grand to spend, you've got your showroom across the road, and you've got your workshop across the road from that. I would be spending 3 to 4 grand on each car. You can prep them, check them over. You've got that extra peace of mind that they're not an absolute dog. Like for me, I might get something in. Obviously, my guys can check it over, but there's sort of stuff that can have a decent margin in. But I guess you, being mechanically minded, can check them over, and it's a numbers game. You could pick cars with bigger margins in, but my opinion would be that while you're establishing yourself and you're getting the wheels turning, you kind of need to cut your teeth on the cheaper stuff rather than getting in 5, 15 grand cars or whatever. I know the maths is wrong there, but whatever it is, with a slightly bigger margin in, I would stick to just kind of like almost like I need to. Like I've sort of said, right, how many cars can we fit here? And I need to chop. So I've set a cap of what we're spending now of like 15 grand. I keep breaking it, but per car, 15 grand because otherwise if you add up the money, you haven't got enough to fill the space. So I think to maximize the money, you need to do that. Check them over. Have like a dedicated day or whatever to like prep them, check them over, and fill it up. And if you're filled up with cars that are 5 to 6 to up to 10 grand to sell, with 20 of them, you can't not be busy. I mean, then you might have quieter periods, but then it will get going, and then you get your part exchanges and whatever. But what's the highest amount of cars you've had in stock at the moment?
9. That's the highest we had in them once. 9.
Okay.
I was going to touch on that because you say the cheaper stuff. We thought that would sell, but we really found I think we had it between. You see at the minute we've still got some cheaper stuff lying around that we're trying to shift. Some of that stuff we had especially we had a little Fiesta with 19,000 miles on it, probably 1,500 quid on the retail. We couldn't move it. We could not move it. We had it probably 6 months, but something like that, I thought would have flew out.
Was it a 3-door?
No, 5 door.
Right. But yeah, what Joe's saying, I fully agree with everything what Joe's saying, and I think the problem is when you have like 50 grand, you think, oh, I'll go and buy a 10 grand car. But like what Joe's saying, you're best off spreading all the money about I'd rather have 10 5 grand cars, you know what I mean, than 15 grand cars, whatever the maths is. But what you've got to niche into is that you're a mechanic. Like, I would honestly, like you're a mechanic. This is your biggest strong point. Like, you can make money out of warranties. If it was me, this is what I would do. I would be selling just Focuses at 3 to 4 grand, Mondeos, like the Titanium X sort of stuff. Stuff that's a tiny little bit specky, like you're saying there about your Fiesta. It might be a bog standard Fiesta, and I don't mean getting a Fiesta ST.
Yeah, it was.
Well, yeah. So you just need your middle of the road cars to start off with. Give it 2 years, and then you will build up because your pot within 4 or 5 years will go from 50 to 100 grand, and then you can go into them more expensive cars. But what I'd be niching into now is the fact that you're mechanics. So if it was me and I was a mechanic and I was confident in what done, I'd say, look, we'll put a 6-month warranty on this, or we'll sell you a 12-month warranty for 200 quid. But you've just got to bring it back to us, and it's covered by us, and it covers the engine, the gearbox, the clutch, the starter, motor, alternator, and I'd be trying to get all little bits on top like that. That's where you're going to do really well.
Yeah, just to add it all in.
But does
that's
it?
good idea.
Yeah. We're the mechanics. We only sell cars we'd buy, that sort of thing, you know.
That's it.
Yeah, I tried to push that on.
And I think it can evolve. Then I think it can evolve over time. You can get away from the whole "we're a workshop, we're mechanics," all that sort of thing. Because I guess long term, that's not what you want to be. You don't necessarily want to be associated with being a mechanic, but you can build it into a prestige brand over time. But the problem is, it's so hard to just like get straight into prestige.
Yeah, that's how it's doing.
Like Dave's saying, just to go back to what you have got in stock, I'll try and put it on the screen. Like, it's funny because this is exactly the same sort of thing we were talking about on another one of these.
Yeah.
Red.
Yeah.
It's an expression, which I don't really know what that means, but how specky that is, I don't know. But it's what's known in the trade as DDR. You know what that is, don't you, Dave?
What is it?
Dog dick red.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually sold now. So
it's sold now, is it?
Yeah, so is the Astra.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
all right. Well, I eat my words then.
Eat your words, mate. Yeah.
I think though as well, it helps if they're a little bit higher mileage.
What I would say is,
like, because that's a little bit higher mileage as well, so that'll have looked really good value. Where if you had one with like 20,000 miles on the clock and it was 7 grand, no one will want it. So you've done all right there with that Igo, because see that Focus there, that's stuff I used to sell like shelling peas.
Yeah,
I've only just listed that this morning, so I'll see how that gets on.
That'll fly
especially at that sort
out
of price,
that.
I would expect that to go quite well. And this is the thing when you've got like a load of, let's say, 4 to 6 grand cars. If you've got like a few of them that are like fancier ones, like you're not saying this one is, obviously it's a 10 grand car, but your Astra GTC or something that's a bit fancier in there, and then you've got half a dozen of these mixed in the middle. It doesn't matter if I mean, I don't think they will sell slowly, but if you have got something that does sell slowly, it doesn't matter if they're mixed in with the other stuff because you're busy with the stuff that sells quickly, and then along comes someone that has that. But as a general rule, I would say what you want to be buying is spending, like £3 to £5 on each car.
Not, can I just jot
Try
this
and
down?
get
Is that
something,
all right?
huh?
I just jot this down. Is that all right?
Of course you can,
Just
mate. Yeah, of course you
taking notes, mate. That's all.
can. And try and buy stuff that you'd be semi-interested in. If you think, if I had to buy this myself, if I had to smoke this around, would I be happy? Like, I mean, I would be happy with any of these cars. I don't really care. But if you're buying it, try and, like, if you're buying this Focus, I don't even know what models they did during that sort of era. Was it like, I don't even think they did an ST line,
They've
but they
done
did
it
something that, oh,
titanium.
was it
They've done
a
it.
Z-Tech, a Z-Tech
That's
S
it.
or something?
Z-Tech.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Z-Tech S is
that's the Z
always
tech.
like brilliant news. It's got the nice alloys. It's got a few little bits on it that makes it a bit more interesting. That's the sort of stuff I'd try and buy. Now, if you get this sort of stuff in part exchange, gold, because you can pay the right money for it,
Yeah.
and people still want it. But
So
again,
do you
try
guys
this sort
say
of stuff.
specs really important then, even at the lower end stuff?
Just as long as it's not
Well, at the
proper
end of the
basic.
day, I'm assuming, I don't know for sure, you're on a trading estate somewhere, are you?
You can say that again. Sorry.
I said, I'm assuming you're on a trading estate somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, unlike where I am and where Dave is, although how many people are actually walking by, you're not like on a
Oh
you
no,
haven't
we're
got footfall.
well off the beaten track, mate. Yeah.
So people aren't just going to come by and be like, "Oh yeah, oh I like the look of that" or whatever. You need to have something that people are searching for, so it needs to
Right.
stand
Okay.
out if you want people to
Yeah.
come to you.
Yeah.
Is my theory, and I'm sure Dave says we've said it both 100 times. Like the stock that you have on a forecourt, like supermarket stock, could just be this sort of you know plain stuff, but you got people who come to your forecourt for a wander around like a day out and they might buy one.
Yeah.
Versus you're trying to get people to make a special trip, plop their sat nav on their phone and come find you.
It makes a
You
really
need
good
to have
point,
something that
actually. Yeah.
they really think is worth
Yeah.
coming and
Coming
looking
down
for. Do you
for.
know what I mean? So I'm not necessarily spec, but I just think even if you had like this Focus thing here and someone had put a nice tasteful set of wheels on it or something,
Yeah.
and I don't know, it just looked, it had the Z-Tech bits on it. People are more likely, especially if it's the price won't be hugely different from that other one. If you're looking at auction, for example, but people will be like, "Oh, that still looks really modern. That looks smart."
What about Joe? If his website, could you go back on that website, please, Joe? So basically, if someone lands on your website and you've got that Focus there, but you've got 50 grand in stock, haven't you? So it would look great from the cheaper cars. I don't know, four Fiestas, all under 60,000 miles, all at around 3990 or 34590. Then you go into Focuses. Then it just looked nice and uniformed on your website. And then anyone who's going to come onto your website, they'll be like, oh, do you know what? They've got quite a few. When I used to just sell all this type of stuff, they would come down and look at two or three cars on a Saturday. And that'd give you another little bit of an helping hand.
Well, if you've got 20 cars that are all priced between 4 and 6 grand, someone's coming looking at a car in that market. If they turn up and they're like, "Actually, do you know what? The boot's smaller than I thought they were going to be." You can cross sell them into something else and be like, "Well, if you don't like that, I'll tell you a car that I love, but most people overlook is the, I don't know, Kia Bingo Bongo or whatever." And they might, quite often you'll sell that way. But the other thing I'd say is, if someone comes on the website now, and if you haven't had much luck with selling and you don't know what to buy, I understand exactly why you've only got like 4 cars in stock. But again, with people coming to you, there's like a psychological thing. I think if someone came on here and there was 20 cars to look at, they're going to feel more relaxed about coming and looking at one versus you've got 3 cars, one that's not in yet, and a motorbike. Personally, and I don't know whether I'm right or wrong, but someone's going to turn up and you think you're going to get the hard sell on that one car because that's one of 3 they've got. Versus if there's loads of cars there, it's a bit more relaxed. You know what I mean? They're a bit more like, oh, okay, I'm not going to feel so like under the spotlight looking at this one car. So, and at the end of the day, if you're buying cars that are 3 to 4 grand, I don't think you can go too wrong. I mean, as long as you're buying quite sensibly, which you probably buy a lot more sensibly than I do, you've got the knowledge.
Yeah, like I say, we've got that advantage, haven't we? Yeah. Yeah. Well, to be fair, we bought them 2 Audis with the knackered gearboxes. Were off a trader off that like a site on Facebook, and we know for a fact one of them the fault was already there. They just erased the fault code and then sold it to us. So because we can check the fault history, and it was literally erased the day before we bought it. So that sort of knocked our confidence from buying from certain traders as well, which is unfortunate, but it happens.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that happens, and I don't know why people would want to risk their reputation doing that.
Yeah,
But
so
I think 9 cars out of 10 you buy, there's going to be something to address. The good news is you can.
yeah. Oh yeah, we're not scared of prep, not at all. I say even if it's a serious issue, we wouldn't walk away from it. And it like I say, it has kept us afloat. To be honest, it really has. If it wasn't, like I say it again, I don't know how you guys do it about not being mechanics. I really don't. It baffles my mind how anyone could do it without having some knowledge of what they're doing.
But you know what? I think that's probably, as much as it's
It's a
a benefit
superpower.
to you, I bet it's a hindrance as well.
Puts you off a lot.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about this in our other chat,
Yeah.
the last podcast me and Dave did. We're like, if you analysed every problem of every car, you
Yeah,
wouldn't buy anything.
It wouldn't
I
slate.
was literally saying this the other day, like the list of what not to buy is endless. Like Ingenie
Yeah.
engines, you know, the Nissan engines, the automatic Nissan. You don't touch any of it.
Yeah. My mechanic,
Like
Dad.
Dave said, it's his 80-20 rule.
It is. It's the 80-20 rule. And my mechanic does. I remember I first started, and I said to him, I was like, "You're a mechanic. Why are you not selling cars? It's like you can get all the ones that are broke dead cheap." And he went, "Dave, the thing is, you know nothing about cars, and I know everything about cars, and because of that, I don't buy anything." So this is it. Like me and Joe were sort of just like gamblers, but ignorance is bliss. Do you know what I mean? And it is the 80-20 rule. 80% of
Yeah,
the cars
absolutely.
we
Yeah.
buy will be fine. But we've just come to the conclusion, 20% are going to be knackered. And we've just got to fix them. And you can't win all the time, Matt. So what you've got to do is just stock up as many cars
Right.
as you can, sell them, fix them, and the amount of customers that you're going to get coming back to you because you fixed the car, with warranty work and stuff like that. Like I can't, like I'm so jealous
Yeah.
that you're a mechanic. Like I've struggled for 12 years.
Oh, no, yeah, no. A lot of people say it. Yeah, a lot of people say it. So we help out as much as people. Like we sold a little Fiat 500 to a trader last week actually on Facebook. But we advertised it with a knackered gearbox, and the lad who bought it, bless him, he's only just starting out, and he didn't have like a mechanic to use. So we put the gearbox in it for free, like free labour to help him out. So we help people that way as well. Like we know it's an industry, you got to look after each other, aren't you, at the end of the day? And he was dead chuffed with what we did for him. And every customer that comes back, we always fix their cars on time. No qualm it. We always just get it in, we fix it. We refund people like that. Our reputation is really good, to be honest. And anyone who's dealt with us will say, like, top lads, none of this sleazy salesman, try and push sales and that, We're mechanics in the day, we're grease monkeys. So it's like, there's the car, mate. Do you want it? No, I see you. Do you know what I mean? Like, none of this trying to push yourself. But I guess we need to step away from that a little bit and be a little bit more, not forceful, but a sales pitch, so to speak, if that makes sense. But
Nah, you don't.
again,
I think I would lean into, again, the mechanic thing. So if you've have your pitch, have it professional, have all that sort of stuff, but don't start turning up to work in a bloody suit and tie or whatever.
Oh, never would. Never
I
would.
I still think you want to say, like, look, we're mechanics, so the cars that we buy, we like to check them over. We know they want to be nice. We've looked at it with a mechanic set of eyes. If you want someone else to look at it, fair enough, but you've got us. We're not really salespeople, so if you like it, check it out or whatever. Like you can see I'm a mechanic. I'm about to go back to doing this timing chain on this whatever.
Yeah.
And again, I think that gives people confidence. It's like that hands-off approach. That would be my thing. I'm a mechanic. I think, we know the car's mechanically great, but whether you're in love with it or not, that's entirely up to you. So we're going to leave you to look at it. If you want to test drive it, let's go and test drive it. No hard sell because I don't know what I'm doing. Leading into that whole
That's true.
That's
what it is. Yeah, that's what it is.
That is exactly how I would do it. That's exactly how I used to do it, except I didn't have the benefit of saying I was a mechanic. I was like, I just don't know anything about anything. If you like it, great.
Do you need a bathroom, mate?
Yeah, exactly. It's my cup of tea.
Yeah.
And what about
Yeah,
that Fiat
I think
500 then?
there's
Did you like why didn't you put a gearbox in yourself and sell it?
yeah. Me and Dave are reeling here that you're too
It was
soft,
a
too
part
nice.
exchange. It's basically a part exchange for that Fiesta that I was mentioned, and we serviced her car, and we noticed the gearbox was knackered. So I said to her, I says, "Look, I says you got a failed gearbox. This is another way we sell cars. When we repair a car and it's knackered, we sort of push ours onto them. Well, I didn't even push it, to be honest. I just said, look, we've got a little car in stock if you fancy it, rather than chucking X amount of £1,000 at this. But no, we was going to retail it, but it just needed a bit of body work, and we just couldn't be bothered because it needed a rear bumper sorting. And by the time we've done it all, we want a great deal in it. So, and we're tight for space, really tight for space at the minute. So,
Right.
but yeah, we sourced the gearbox, a recon box, and we put it in for the chap for free. So.
Yeah.
He paid for the gearbox, surely.
Yeah. Well, he
Yeah,
paid for
yeah, yeah.
part of it. We actually paid for 25 quid of it because I just wanted it gone.
See, me and Dave here were just like, it's too.
Too
You're
nice.
obviously a really nice guy, Matt, and I
Like
really
money, you're
like that.
throwing money away.
Well, it's not even just that. I just think like no good deed goes unpunished.
That's
I've
right.
said this
That's
before.
what we always
So,
say. We always say,
So
keep
true.
being nice. Eventually, it's going to come back our way.
And it will.
because
Yeah.
he'll
It
come
will.
back and be like, that gearbox you put in the gearbox is or whatever, la, la, la. And then I'm
Yeah.
not saying he will. I'm sure he's a lovely lad, and there's nothing wrong with doing it, and it helps your reputation and whatever. But if you've gone through the time on your own time of putting that gearbox in, how much more would you have got for the car if the gearbox wasn't knackered and it just needed a bit of body work?
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
you still got to feel good about yourself. So I don't, I'm
Yeah,
not
that's what
saying
it
it
made me
all has to be.
feel good. Yeah, and he turned up and he was
Yeah.
dead chuffed, and he's saying how glad he found his kind of. You feel good about yourself, doesn't it? I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no, not to feel bad about it, but I guess me and Dave, we get a bit harder,
You
don't we,
you
Dave? I
get
think.
harder, definitely. So, like the
I suppose you
woman,
have to do that, yeah.
do you think you give the
Yeah.
woman too much for the Fiat 500? Or did,
Oh yeah, well, bear in mind, I sold it for 2.4, and I give her $2 for the car, and the gearbox cost me 2.15. So,
oh shit! See,
and
I would.
I paid for an MOT.
Oh god, yeah. See, I would have been giving
Yeah,
her 500 quid for a Fiat 500 if you knew the gearbox was knackered.
yeah. Well, she's a long term customer, so I didn't want to insult her and lose her as a customer. She spent a lot of money with us, so
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate. Again, these are all like, this is why it'd be great to have 20 cheaper cars, because you go through the cycles of everything. And do you know what I learned? And when you start out, especially being a mechanic like you, and in fact, my sort of like at the beginning, my right hand man Dan, he would hate giving people bills for their
Yeah.
mechanical work. He would hate giving them valuations for their car because he'd have it with his set of eyes. Being a mechanic, he'd be like, "Oh, well, we're telling them it's 500 quid to do this, whatever it is, lower arms and blah, blah, blah." But he's like, "I know that will only take me 5 hours, and that just seems really expensive for whatever it is or whatever."
yeah,
And I'm like, but to them, it's a godsend. It's 500 quid and it's done and it's
Yeah.
out of their thing. Same with the values of cars. Like sometimes you look at the value and be like, oh, right, I reckon we can sell that car for 4 grand. 1,500 quid out of that would be fair, blah, blah, blah. But they're thinking it's worth a grand, you know. So when you offer them 1,500 quid, they're actually over the moon. I think you can overanalyze it and
yeah.
whatever. But there's no, we can tell you that, but you will learn it over time. It's
I'm the biggest softy going, honestly. I mean, don't you think I'm soft, Joe? Like, I come across like a nice person, and in the beginning, honestly,
yeah, absolutely.
part exchange valuations had come in. I remember this bloke with a polo, and he came in and he said, "How much will you give us for this polo?" It was like one owner, 60,000. It was beautiful. And I said, "How much do you want?" And he went, "Oh, just give me a grand." And I went, "Oh, I'll tell you what, I'll give you 1,500 because it's worth more than that." Now, I'd be like, "I'll give you
Yeah.
800, because it's so hard to make money in this job. It's so hard to because
I know it is. Yeah,
you
it
know what I mean.
is. It is.
You've got to protect that margin because your overheads are just they're so big. You've got to be a bit more
Yeah.
ruthless. You've got to be a little bit more.
I think if I didn't have the workshop side of it bringing me regular money, I would be a lot more ruthless, so to speak. But I don't know.
It's not even ruthless. I mean, I'm guilty as well. I've done exactly what Dave has done. Someone said they want 500 quid for their car, and I'm like, nah, that's not fair, and I've given them more. And do you know what? I would say 90% of the times I've done that, I've regretted it because there was something they hadn't told me with the car, and that's why they said it was cheap. They like
Yeah.
less or whatever. You get stung so many times.
There's a saying, isn't there? No one sells a good car.
Well, yeah, there's always something. And it's always the ones you don't expect. It's lovely little old Dot and
Yeah, yeah,
with a car, and you're like, oh, I won't test drive it. She says it's lovely and whatever, and you get out in it, and it's like the weird
It's
square.
like,
It's just like,
Joe,
fucking
Joe,
hell.
it's
she's
like
had my pants down. Yeah.
if you go on my website now, there's a Ford Focus EcoBoost, and it was Dot from up the road, and she went, "I've serviced it all my life. I've had it since new. I sold it. Bloke had it for I don't know 3 months, and the engine blew up because it was an EcoBoost, and she didn't know. She didn't know at all that the engine was going to bugger up, but." I should have not given her as much because then I had to put an engine in and all the time and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So you've just got to think like 5 steps ahead, but we're always still going to make mistakes. It's like even now, I probably still
Yeah.
give too much to people.
Yeah, we do, but I'm like, it's easy for me because I'm a bit detached now. I come in and they'll be like, "Oh, what do you think about this?" Because I get shitty about the part exchange prices. Like, you pay too much for that. They'll be like, "What do you think about this?" And if they say, "Oh, I was thinking about giving him 800 quid or whatever," I'll be like, 500 quid. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, if they don't want it, we're not forcing them to take it. We're not
No,
like
no.
strong arming them into it. It's like that's what we'd pay for it. And I say to them, for us, it has to be. We're not going to retail it, so it needs to be cheap enough for us to send it to auction and maybe make 50 quid or 100 quid or whatever you want to
Yeah.
tell them, so that. But we need that little bit of buffer because there's no guarantee what it'll make at auction. I don't want to lose money on it,
Yeah,
and I think people get that. And all right, some people, if it's a really nice car and it's their pride and joy and it's attached to their ego, they might get personally upset. But like, I mean, we had a guy who came in and he had like a Z3 3 litre on like 19,000 miles or something, and he wanted about 10 grand for it. And it might have been worth it. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think he said we wanted 9 grand. It might have been, if you look around on Auto Trader, there might be some available for 12 grand. But my guy plotted it in. He's like, look, if we go directly off of the data, off of Auto Trader and Cap, which is what we use, it's like 900 quid. And he's like, oh, that's offensive. And he's like, I'm not saying the car's worth that. I'm just saying
Yeah.
for us, we don't sell classic cars. So, if you want us to buy it, you want a service, a favour from us, like us buy it off you and that's it, done and you get paid. That's the sort of money we'll pay,
Yeah.
not.
yeah.
But it does take some learning. I was just trying to have a look at your EcoBoost, Dave. I see it. So is it back in stock now?
Yeah, I had an engine fitted last week. So I sold it for 5 grand, and it's been on death row. This is another thing, Matt. What you've got to do is when you get cars that are like, oh, they're going to cause you problems, get rid of them as soon as you can. So that went on death row. I left it there for 6 months, or 8 months. It went down in value. I didn't want to scrap it, so I thought, oh, bugger it, I'll put an engine in. I think it's cost me 1,700 quid. And I'm going to try and scrape back the money. So I'll get 3,800 back, but
Yeah.
I'll probably lose about 2 grand on it. But I'd rather get that 3,700 in the bank than 250 if I took it to the scrapyard.
Yeah. And get it working for you again. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it.
Back to making like a plan for you, Matt. Where are you getting stock from?
Typically BCA car auctions and private sellers.
Okay. BCA and private. I would, if you don't already, make a point on your website of like we buy cars and in the workshop as well. So if you've got people coming in for workshop stuff,
Yeah, we've got that on our
and they
website
like,
actually to
have you?
try and
Okay,
sell your
good.
car. Yeah, they put all the criteria in. Yeah, and then we get an email. We bought a few cars off the website, to be honest, like valuation. Yeah, so that actually works.
Well, whereabouts are you based again? Let's remind myself. Lincolnshire,
Yeah,
Long Benetton.
Long
Anyone who's near
Benetton.
Long Benetton and wants to sell their car, Matt's your man. Back to the website, jm-automotive.co.uk. Yeah, I'd have a banner in the thingy, just make it people aware that when they're bringing their cars in, they're having their expensive repairs. You're like, we buy cars as well, because I think
Yeah,
there's an opportunity there to buy some of the some beauties because you already know what the problem is. You know, you might be handing them a bill for 600 quid, but you know that in parts it's going to cost you 200 quid.
The trouble is, the area we're in, they don't typically buy £2.5 Ford Focuses. It's you got Bentley Continentals and Audi Q7s, and they're all quite the wealthy side of it.
See, Matt, I don't know if you know, Joe, you might know James Bush. You've heard of James Bush. He's in that WhatsApp group we're in. And he's located near you. You need to check him out. James Bush Cars. And he doesn't sell anything over like
James
10...
Bush. Oh.
James Bush. And he's near you. I'm sure he's in Lincolnshire. Definitely. And he sells everything under... I think it's like 7-8 grand cars. And he sells, I know for a fact he won't mind me saying, he sells like 40, 50 cars a month. You know, so you've got to get out of that mindset,
Really?
I'm in the wrong area. It's not the right people and all this. Yeah. James Bush has been doing this for absolutely years. And maybe have a look at his website and try and do something like what he's doing on a smaller scale.
Joe's got it up now, actually, yeah.
The great news is, if you're in a really affluent area, and everyone's driving around in Bentley Continentals and Q7s, that means you've got the scope to expand into that sort of stuff and make disgusting margins on cars once you've built up.
I wouldn't say the entire area is like that. Just the village we're in, it's quite a wealthy village, yeah. Like Long Benetton itself, there's quite a lot of money floating around.
Yeah. Well, I mean, either way, people will travel. But secondly, if you had a town that was completely full of billionaires, it would fall to a ruin in no time, wouldn't it? Because there's no one changing the bed sheets, there's no one cooking the food and running the restaurants and whatever. You know, there's a mix. It doesn't matter where you look. There's a mix of people and budgets. And at the end of the day, you need opportunities to sell, and that's the budget you've got. In a sense, you haven't got any choice, Matt. You've got to stick with 4 to 5. I would say would be my just to get the wheels moving. And what I would do is at the end of each month, look at what your stock pot is and like, I've got 60 grand now. That means I can start buying 5 to 7 grand cars. And I would just try and tiptoe it up as you build up. But the most important thing, I think, I don't know if Dave will agree, is having the opportunities to buy, sell.
Sorry to interrupt, Joe. You know, like your car sales, is that separate? Is it a separate business, your bank account to your mechanical side, or is it all in one?
Yeah, so it's all in the same bank, but we've got different accounts. So we've got a bit like, I watched a video actually from when you broke down your bank account. You know how you had your VAT and taxes, stock, profit, and all the rest of it. I literally mirrored that because I found it really useful. So we do that now. So literally, I know where my money is. So I know exactly where my stock money is, my profit, and what's coming in from a retail side of it. Yeah.
Oh, great. Because that's what I'd say. Like all your car money. If you get enough money from your mechanic side of stuff, I wouldn't even pay myself a wage. I'd just reinvest everything back into the cars, in that account.
Yeah, no, we don't. Every pay, since doing car sales for 2 years, I'm not paid myself a single penny out of it.
Yeah.
I've only ever paid myself through my part-time job and obviously being a mechanic for myself now. So
and have you
that's
grown
the
it,
only way
Matt?
we've managed to build that pot.
Have you grown it? Like, what did it start off?
Yeah,
at?
we started with $1,000. We started
There you go. That's
we
brilliant.
started with £1,000.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
This is the one thing that we all
put
do.
500 quid in each to buy that first car.
Me and Joe are guilty of this. We don't realise how far we've come. You've been doing it for 2 years and you've grew $1,000 into 50 grand, and then you're here going, oh God, these cars, they're a nightmare. They're this, they're that. But this is the price you pay to become, however. If you could do that in 2 years, you can turn your 50 grand into $250,000 easy within the next 5 years.
It's got to keep at it, haven't you?
To do this for a couple of years and to have not lost money is your first massive success. And then if you've made 25 grand a year, basically, next is like tweaking everything. So, because, I've got to where I have. My pot started off at like 20 grand and now we've got like £500,000 to play with. It's not all my money, I might add, but we've certainly grown it a lot. And probably, by like 10 times. And now it's like tweaking it, right? What don't we need? What don't we need? But to get going, you kind of just need to throw everything at it, don't you? And reinvest and...
Yeah.
And that's what we've done. Like, we've been on the bread line some months we've been on the bread line, but you just got to... It ain't easy, is it? if it's easy, everyone would be doing it at the end of the day. So, you know,
I got a
it ain't
theory. I
easy.
think that everyone thinks it's easy, and that's why everyone wants to get into it. That's why I got into it. I thought it was
Yeah,
easy money,
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
and it is not. There's
No,
just
it's
no two
not.
ways about
It's
it.
horrendous, isn't it? It's horrendous.
It's not physically hard,
Mate,
but it is mentally hard,
Mentally, yeah,
for
Joe,
absolutely.
sure,
Joe,
and emotionally hard.
I woke up this morning at 4:30 thinking of cars. I'm thinking, have I ordered that splitter for that? And I need this and that MOT. And then I was up at 5 o'clock, and then I went on Auto Trader. I went, I'm changing all the prices. This is what this job does to you. But at the same time, it's a great buzz. It's like playing, like Jamie says from Car Key. It's like a computer game. It's like Sims, and you've just got to keep reminding yourself you've done really well. Like you've come really far. Like you've done amazing. So don't give up on it at all. You've got to just, like we always say, just get more cars. Don't be scared to buy more cars. Volume. That's what's going to keep you busy.
You said before we started recording, and I wouldn't because you look bigger than me, but I was going to say I'd give you a slap for saying it. It was something along the lines of like, we've got no excuse. We've got no excuse for not having made this work or whatever. And I know it's like, that's exactly what I did. I'm my own worst critic, and I give myself so much shit if I don't do stuff. But I mean, you have done well. And secondly, it's not the way to like look at it like, oh, they've got no excuse. But what you have got is every opportunity. The good news is you've got the money, you've got the skills and whatever, you've got the new place to put the stuff in. And I'm not saying that my plan of buy 20 cars or whatever it is for like 4 or 5 grand, or take your 50 grand and chop it up into how many, the maximum you can, say the maximum cars you can get is 15, add a few on because you'll squeeze them in somewhere. Chop it up and just get as many as you can and then grow slowly. I'm not saying that is the best way to do it. Someone else might say whatever, but it's going to give you a plan to work to and kind of like stay accountable to, because we'll catch up in 6 months and I'll be like, I'm looking at your website now and you've only got 8 cars. I'm very disappointed in you.
Yeah.
It's just getting the wheels turning.
Yeah, this is it. Like I say, it's I think now you've given me an option where to actually move towards, because we was going to go for the performance prestige side of it. We was going to buy probably 3 to 4 cars with decent margins, so C63s, like the early ones, A45s. We was going to buy stuff like that, and like maybe try and get a niche.
We were on another podcast the other day, and I said, I don't know if you watched the channel. I bought an Audi RS4 not that long ago from BCA.
The blue
Like,
one.
this is great. I might keep it for myself or whatever, and I've just paid a £5.5 warranty bill on it. I only made £2 out of the car. Getting into that performance stuff and whatever at this time,
It's not worth it.
don't do it. Do you know what? I think if I was going to get into performance and prestige and stuff like that, the only route I would take is like Rory's route from RS Car Sales, who was on our podcast. He's buying stuff that's like maximum 5 years old, decent mileage on them, not like the stuff that I would buy that would be like 12 years old and 100,000 miles. It looks really good value. Yeah, because it's about to shit itself.
There's a reason someone sold it. Isn't there?
Exactly, yeah.
So true. It's so true. So
it's great. It's great fun. It's great fun, but it's bloody risky. And the other thing with performance stuff is you get like your anorak customers, and you get your dickhead customers, sports and performance stuff. They want to come. You get the test pilots that want to come and drive it like an absolute bell end, and they can't drive to save their life. You can get into all that later on, but
I think it is like you said, you buy what you're interested in, and that's what we're interested in. I think it's more of a case we want it for us rather than make money, so we can just tear about in these flash cars.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
You can get to that. I mean, we've got like nice stuff on the forecourt now, and I could drive that around or whatever. But I'll allow you to buy one at a time, Matt.
that's it.
All right?
We
You
can
can
share it.
That's
15 sensible things, and then one slightly saucy thing that you're allowed to have.
we'll
And,
have to work
and that one that you drive, that one that you the saucy one, you've got to like run it, smoke it, so you know that it's okay to sell.
And that's a good car. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
good car.
That's it.
You got to enjoy it at the end of the day, haven't you? I think that's why we all do this. We do enjoy it. So if having the nice cars and something interesting, for me, it's great because I get to try loads of different cars that I would never want to commit to owning forever. But I
Oh
get to
yeah,
buy
too,
them, try
yeah.
them, drive them home a couple of times. I'm like, yeah, cool, experienced it,
Yeah.
and can talk about it. If I go for beers at some point, someone asks me, "Oh, have you ever tried a Kia Stinger?" I'll be like, "Yeah." Power slide it around the
Yeah.
roundabout on my way home. That
They're
was it. I was
renowned for that,
done.
aren't they? Back end, being lively back ends.
Crazy. Yeah, it was really cool. It was a good car.
So Matt, what are you what are you thinking now then? Like, what at this moment? What's your emotions? Are you like buzzing to go out and buy a load of Focuses, or you're just gonna stick to what do you think you're gonna do?
I won't say I'm buzzing for it, no. But I'm going to go that route, I think. Yeah, I mean, we did say to ourselves, no more cheapo stuff because we had no end of it in stock and we couldn't sell it for like 8 months and was like, this ain't working. So, but if that you guys are the experts, you're saying that's what the approach I'll go to, or taking a stab at it. Of course we will. You know, I'm very humble in that. You know, I'll take advice off people. I won't just listen to them and go do my own thing. You know, I'll take people's advice on board and I'll give it a
Oh,
shot.
bloody hope it works for you then,
I
because
know.
I feel guilty otherwise. But
Yeah, if not, I'll be coming back on a podcast and ripping your heads off.
I
Don't
would.
listen to them; they're useless.
Yeah. But I would say when you say cheap stuff, like we said, like the 4 to 6 grand price bracket.
I
But
think, like you said,
it's
it's
got
spec,
to have
isn't it?
something interesting about it. It's got to be the Titanium X or the Z-Tech
Yeah.
S
Yeah.
or I
I
don't
think
know
that's
what.
where we've been going wrong. I think we looked more at the fact of how much money's in it rather than how desirable it will be to sell. And then we've
That's
sort of looked
it.
at each other and gone, why does it take so long to sell? But yet, the Fiesta, I think we had a look on Auto Trader. There must have been, I think, best part of 160 identical cars on Auto Trader at one time. And you got to expect it to sit around. You know, you have. And that's where we've gone wrong. So I think we need to really spend a bit more time on looking at what we're buying rather than just thinking, right, how much money's in it? You know, right, yeah, okay, we've got 2 grand in that, let's buy it. You know, it's no good when you sat on it for 6 months. You could have done 3 or 4 of those in the space of 6 months and had a bit more smaller money, but made more money, you know, because you bought the right thing. So I
Yeah.
think that's where we're going wrong. But probably get another thing we wanted to ask you guys as well, really, actually, to that side of it. We don't use Auto Trader because we just can't afford it. It's too expensive. You know, I think for a 9-car package, it's just shy of 2 grand, isn't it? For a 10-car package. So we haven't got that facility to vet the cars to see how quick they're going to sell. How would you guys recommend vetting your cars to see what to buy? I mean, at the minute, you do the manual checks on Auto Trader where you mirror the car as best you can. And we use motor checks for valuation, which is absolutely miles out, 9 times out of 10. So what would you guys suggest if you didn't have the budget for Auto Trader? I mean, we use Car Gurus, which is, I'm not even going to get into it. It's a complete waste of money. So that ends this month, and we're not renewing that because that, I think we'd probably have 4 inquiries in a year. So it's complete waste of money.
I would. You can keep the free car gurus thing. It's doesn't cost you anything. I wouldn't say it's great and gives you loads of opportunities, but it's got to be worth having. What do you use? eBay Motors or whatever?
No, we manually put them individual adverts on Auto Trader. So it
Oh,
depends
okay.
on the price of the car, but roughly it's about 90 quid for a car that's about 5 grand.
Get 10 to 15 cars in stock, the best you can for now, and then get yourself the minimum Auto Trader package, which I think, having spoken to other people that have come on here, it's like 700 or 800 quid.
Is it? How many cars is that for? 5.
And it's for like 7, you get 5 plus 2 plus your 2 cheapies or whatever it is. I don't know the weird way they organise it. But yeah, you can definitely get an Auto Trader package for about 700 quid. And if you're paying 90 quid per car, whatever anyway, as long as you're making sure you've got the stock rolling in, you are going to be better off. It should
Yeah,
be
we're
cheaper.
paying for
Plus,
itself.
you'll have
Isn't it?
all the data, and it will just be a godsend just to
Do
give
you
you that
get
bit.
that? Do you get that with the cheaper package then? Do you get all the analytics and stuff?
Well, there's I think yeah. So you can choose. You can choose like a basic package, a standard package, and or whatever.
To be fair, we're on the standard package. We're on the cheap one. You know, there's like 4 tiers to it, but I think most traders are just on the standard. But it's just going to make your life so much. I know everyone thinks, oh, I can't afford to pay that Auto Trader bill, but I think what you've got to do, Matt, is you're having to train your brain from this negative bias that you've got in your head, because once you do get Auto Trader and you make it work for yourself, like Joe's just said there, 15 cars, 7 advertised. You can easily sell 15 cars with a seven slot package, because the beauty of it is once you've sold one, you just flip on to the next one, and you don't have to rebuy an advert and all that sort of stuff. Just trial it for 6 months.
Yeah, if you sell 15 a month on 700 quid, it's going to cost you £46.66 per advert. So it should be cheaper.
Yeah, should be cheaper, yeah.
And that sort of cheaper stuff should sell. What I would suggest is you've got a 50 grand budget, let's say, for stock. I would almost be like, right, we're going to be ready to go and buy some stock. We've got wait till you got your unit and you got space to put them on whatever. And it's like, starting gun goes. Let's get Auto Trader from the start so we can make sure we're using the data to buy it, and then get the stock in and give it a month, because you can cut Auto Trader off after a month. Just
it's
literally month by month. So it's going to cost you 700 quid. 700 quid investment to just see if it helps and makes the big difference.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, it's like Dave said. It's getting that mindset, isn't it? Of like, I always see it as an expense rather than an investment. Like, and I need to get that out of our head. We have so much money coming out. With VAT, taxes, equipment, adverts. You just think just another expense to add to the list. It's just soul destroying, isn't it? Sometimes you feel like you're just working to pay the bills.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think you need to be calculated when you add your expenses on. And I've been guilty of just adding them on, like, expenses equals, turnover. And it does work like that to a degree with some things. But, it's like it's an expense off of an extra 10 cars that you'll sell, hopefully, if you use it right, versus an expense just off of whatever. So
I mean, you could go on Facebook.
I think give yourself the opportunity.
Sorry, Joe.
we do, yeah. We go on there as well. Sorry, yeah, we do. I do post because we're quite active on Facebook and stuff, so we do put it all on there.
Do you do all right on Facebook
and I put it on
Marketplace?
The cheap stuff, yeah, we do really well on it. The dead cheap stuff, like probably sub £2,000.
Yeah.
Anything more than that, it's just you're just wasting time. But the cheapo stuff does seem to sell really well on there.
I would still put everything on.
Oh, we do. Yeah, we do anyway. We put everything on there. It's just they don't really seem to get any. Like if you go, you can see how many people's viewed it, can't you? Anything over £5,000, you probably get 30 views in 6 weeks. The cheaper stuff, you get best part of 600 views on it. It's
Yeah, again, it depends what it is, because if you put a nice ZTEC S looking thing on there for £5,000 versus your boggo basic, someone sat on the bog and they're scrolling through Facebook Marketplace and they're just like.
It's funny you say that, Joe. Actually, we had a little Fiesta ZTEC 1.2 Part X in 2-door one, but a young lad had it and he put a splitter kit on it, some really nice wheels and a sport. We sold that in 12 hours on Facebook. But yeah, the other basic one, we couldn't sell it. It was like 6, 7.
It needs to stand out, doesn't it? That's the thing.
Yeah, that's it.
These things is, like you say, someone sat there on the sofa or on the bog or something, and they're just scrolling through, and they're like, "Oh, that looks cool." And
bit of money, that. Yeah, bit of money.
They're looking at it, and they're like, "Actually, I could afford that." And then, that's how you're going to get people on those sorts of things, I think. What else was I going to say? I would give it a try, because for me, I couldn't live without the data on Auto Trader. It would just give you that extra.
No, yeah, we know we need it. We're not ignorant, and we know there's no one else that can compete with it. It's just a case of it's a bit of pill to swallow, isn't it? When you've got enough.
Once you've got Auto Trader signed up and you've got your dealer ID and all that sort of stuff, I would sign up for the free trial on dealer auction as well.
Yeah.
Because that would give you the opportunity to buy stuff from.
Is that through Auto Trader?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of the same parent company. It's a separate company, but it's the same thing. Yeah. I've actually, I've been using that quite recently, and I quite like it. You can, for a start. Shall I show you just like a?
Yeah. It's a joke, but when I first started, I used to buy all my stuff off dealer auction. I used to buy everything on there.
Yeah. Do you not
because
use
it's
it
all the
nowadays?
main dealers selling them. I don't know. No, I don't. But my friend Chris Ball, that's all he uses is dealer auction. So it is handy. But what was I going to say about? I had something else to say about Auto Trader. Oh, as well. So
It is 99 quid a month, but I would
yeah, it's worth it.
go on.
Yeah, I was going to say as well, when you do your website and stuff, or your Auto Trader, get pictures of you and your mechanics and all that type of stuff. Again, like Joe's saying, you want to stand out from the crowd. Do not be scared to put your face on the adverts and stuff like that, because that again, that's what's going to help sell you the cars. They'd much rather buy a car from you with a unit
Yeah.
in a garage than someone selling it, from home or whatnot, or in a garage car park.
Right, so this is dealer auction. What I didn't know they would do, because it's linked up with Auto Trader, is you get this is like a set search that I've done within like 50 miles, over 60 or over 50 retail rating, and you can kind
Gives
of
you the
like organize them
margins
by
and
retail
everything.
rating, because I do, yeah, and it tells you the margins. So that this thing here currently is on bids. It's a 14 plate, whatever. But I mean, that's that is great. That's the sort of thing.
Great stuff.
Titanium X Business. It's a power ship, a little bit risky, but perfect sort of stock
That would
to
sell.
buy. And obviously you got a bid on it. But the other thing that I think would be really good for you, Matt, is you can do the private Auto Trader stuff, and then use my same
Oh yeah.
Auto Trader retail rating, and it will go through and tell you all the cars that are for sale privately. And I'll tell you what, I want a minimum of 1,500 quid, let's say, for you of margin in it. Audi A6. I'm not saying you should buy this at all, especially not 172,000 miles, but tells you between the asking price and what the retail price is 1,600 quid. So if you can turn up and get them down to £2,000, then you've
Yeah.
got a decent margin.
Oh, right, that's
Anyway, you
clever.
can go
Isn't
Yeah.
it?
through that.
That's
But
worth
again, it's something
100
you can
quid.
have a free trial of. But I mean, have the free trial and try it on a free trial and see how many you buy. And it also does, actually, I didn't say, because it's all owned by Cox as well, so it's Mannheim.
Yeah.
You can see all the Mannheim auctions on there, and you can search the same way. You should use it for that, Dave, because you buy from Mannheim.
Yeah.
You can search by retail rating, price, whatever,
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I'm going to
So,
sign up to that
Yeah,
today,
sounds
mate.
good. Yeah, I'll have a look at that.
Yeah. I'm going to
yeah,
sign up to it.
I would. Tell him I sent you.
I want it for
Get
free
a
now.
referral. Yeah, we've covered loads there. Was there anything else you think you wanted to cover, Matt?
No, I think you bat nail on the head of all that, mate. Yeah, that covered what I was worried about anyway.
Yeah. So yeah,
Brilliant.
try and get as many in as you can. Get with don't be afraid to buy some that are slightly more expensive to throw them in the mix, but try and to have a bit of a framework of how you're trying to buy them would make more sense.
Yeah. And so I was just,
Slightly more interesting stuff.
I say as well, Matt, like, try not buy too many Fiestas, Fiat 500, because then they might stick a bit longer. This is just my opinion. I've always found, like the Mondeos, the Focuses,
Yeah.
you get people with life experience that expect a little dink and dent there. But, the Fiestas and Fiat 500s, you attract the first-time drivers who want a brand new car. So I'd go more
Yeah,
into
no.
that type of stuff.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
We
That's
we
a
tell you
very
what,
good point.
we did try to the Abarth 500 Abarth. We tried to be like a niche in them. We tried that because they sell really well, and that 1.4 T-Jet's bulletproof. The engine in it, absolutely bulletproof. We did really well with them for a bit, but it's just finding them. It's just finding them at a good price. We was going to try and have that as a niche.
Niches are great, I think, once you're really established, but they're bloody hard work to start off with.
To get going with, yeah.
Yeah, if you're relying on just
Because
that.
we even supplied our own parts for them.
The other thing I would caution there is niching into something is great if you've got a really, really long term thing, but cars bloody go in trends. So
Yeah,
our baths are the hot shit one month, and the next month no one wants them because someone's done some bloody YouTube video or article or Clarkson's talked about them or something, and they lose it's just they're just not as popular. It just waxes and wanes. And
Yeah.
if you've got a mix of cars, you can maintain turnover. Whereas if
It's
it's
like a
in one
mobile,
car,
isn't
it
it?
might just dip right down. So, but yeah, Dave's right. I wouldn't necessarily go for like first time cars, small hatchbacks, unless I still think if it's Z-Tech SE type things, great. But yeah, I think what looks value is like the Mondeos, the Audi A4s, BMW 3 Series that you can get in that price bracket. That's what I'd be going for.
So stay away from first time cars, yeah.
As much as
Yeah.
the thing is, there's nothing wrong with having them, but I wouldn't be like making that your buying criteria because you'll probably get them in part exchange and they'll do great
Yeah.
stuff for you. But
That's how you
everyone wants the little small cars,
at brought auction.
and yeah, I just don't think there'll be margins in them. And like Dave says, you're going to get the first time drivers who have built up this idea in their head and they want the car to be perfect and they can't live with the stone chips and they expect you to do it, and they don't have any experience of cars, so it makes them kind of like squeaking noise or something, and they'll be back in every 5 minutes like, should it make that noise? I didn't really expect it to make that noise, and is there any way it could not make that noise? And you're like,
Do you not find though, like the run of the mill Mondeo A4s, you're just fighting against like the car supermarkets and things like that?
not 4 or 5 grand, you're not.
No.
We not, no.
No. Because they have all cars that are only up to 5 years old.
What is that what they do then? The car supermarkets there?
Generally speaking, because it's
Yeah.
probably still got a manufacturer's warranty on it. They're probably not even making really any money on it. They're just going to give you a 500 quid admin fee, put you into some added on products and put you on finance and stuff, and that's where they make their money. That's how the whole model works, really. But yeah, no, I think. But again, don't buy like a Mondeo SE or something. Try and get a
Like
titanium,
yeah.
put the nice alloy wheels, and people. To us, it might be like it's quite a boring car, isn't it? A Mondeo, but to a lot of people, they're like, I've always wanted a Mondeo. Like Dave's head detailer valeter, he gets a proper hard on for
He
Mondeos.
loves his
He loves them.
Mondeo. He's in a Mondeo bloody.
They're not a bad car, are they?
Oh, sorry, Matt. Honestly, he's like on
school.
Facebook. He's in a Mondeo group on Facebook, and they all share pictures. Mondeos are great cars for selling. Mondeo, man.
Yeah,
That's
they're
what we
good
call it.
cars, yeah.
They do drive well.
Yeah.
They have that ST one as well, don't they, the early one?
I don't know.
Yeah, I've never had one of those, but...
Yeah, they're nice.
Anyway, this chat has gone downhill talking about Mondeos now. I think we can probably leave it there. Hopefully that's given you something to think on, and maybe we'll catch up in 6 months and see how you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, sounds great.
Where can everyone find you, Matt? We've sort of said, tell us what sort of social media things you're on and whatever.
Yeah, so we've got a Facebook page and Instagram. To be honest, I don't know the name of it, if I'm honest. Facebook.
Find your Facebook. It was JM
Automotive.
Oh no,
Yeah,
that might be someone else.
Should be JM Automotive.
It could be. This one's in Saxelby. So
No, that's not me, mate. No.
Oh, that's someone else.
I would have a look, but I don't want to close. It's on my phone, so I don't want to close it down in case it ruins your recording.
Yeah.
But I should have wrote that down, really.
No worries.
The website's on there.
I'll dig them out and I'll put them in the description along with the website, which was jm-automotive.co.uk.
That's right, mate. Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, and we will see you in the future.
Cheers,
Great to talk to you guys.
Cheers, Bart.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.